We mentioned earlier, a lot going on in the political world. President Obama is back on the campaign trail. Chaos at the hearings for the Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, and sensational claims in an upcoming book about the president by Bob Woodward, and the ongoing mystery of who is the senior White House official who penned the op-ed describing resistance within the Trump administration. Hamline University professor David Schultz joins us to break it all down. As I said, a lot going on.
I almost want to go.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
Let me ask you about, we just reported that Vice President Pence said that President Obama was breaking with tradition by becoming political and going on the campaign trail so soon after leaving office. Is the Vice President correct here?
He is correct. It is very rare. In fact, I can't think of a situation where a former president went out and really did this kind of campaigning, and especially overtly attacking a sitting president of the United States. But when you think about it, the Democrats are viewing the stakes as so great, they need somebody to go out there, especially to places like Orange County, Southern California, and other places, to really sort of, seal the deal for them if they want to take back the House of Representatives.
All right, let's switch on to the Kavanaugh hearings. Really chaos in the first days of the hearings. How unusual is this? Some people said it was not normal. And do Democrats have any kind of chance of blocking this nomination?
Well, we'll do the last question first. No, there's almost no chance that they have been able to move Lisa Murkowski or Susan Collins. They need to move both of them to be able to flip.
Relatively moderate Republicans.
Right, to flip. It doesn't look like they're going to. Really, the confirmations hearings, changed, three decades ago or so with Robert Bork and the Clarence Thomas hearings. They're less about advice and consent, and they're more about, as we saw these last few days, they're basically sort of surrogates for the 2018 elections. All the themes were being fought out in terms of what's going to happen for the next 2 months. The Democrats and Republicans, nobody's mind was changed. More than anything else, it was theater. Great theater, but really nothing of substance.
Okay. Your thoughts about some of the claims in this upcoming book, it hasn't even gotten on the bookshelves yet, or online, Fear by Bob Woodward. Amongst the most extraordinary, I thought, was the anecdote of Stuart Cohn, or Gary Cohn, a trade aide, pulling off documents from the president's desk so he couldn't sign them. How extraordinary is this?
Well, explicitly say this is extraordinary, but we do know that in previous administrations, for example, in the waning days of the Nixon administration, Alexander Haig, chief of staff, they were taking actions to prevent the president from doing what they thought were going to be irrational things. But for this to occur, let's say, in the middle of a presidency, and what appears to be for almost all of the presidency, is very, very unusual. But in some sense, this sort of corroborates the external impressions that many of us have had of a president who seems to be sometimes hot-tempered or seems to be vacillating on a variety of issues. All
right. And certainly there are a lot of denials from the White House that they ever spoke to Bob Woodward. The president certainly has condemned it. Let's move on to that another extraordinary event this past week, this op-ed describing resistance within the White House. Have you ever seen anything like that?
No. Now, first off, also remember that this is a conservative who is writing, and I mention this because a lot of people said, well, it's obviously the liberals who are doing this. Now, this is a person who identifies himself as fairly conservative and is concerned about the direction of where Trump is taking the country. In many ways, sort of mouthing what many other conservatives feel, but it is unusual for somebody who is a subordinate within the executive branch to take these kind of overt statements and actions.
All right. The president has called it treason and has even suggested that the Justice Department should investigate this. Is there legal bounds or legal precedent to do that? You are a law professor, of course.
No, this is not treason. I mean, treason is defined in the Constitution. This doesn't constitute it. This might constitute insubordination, but even there it's not clear. And the actions that this aide is taking might also be consistent with some of the administrative law that's out there. We don't know. But no, it's clearly not treason.
All right. Well, listen, Professor Schultz, you've kindly agreed to do a Facebook Live with us, and we'll have some fun right at 11 o'clock on WCCO Facebook at 11 a.m. We'll get into the issue of the word lodestar in that op-ed and why some people are pointing the finger at Mike Pence, or is the writer trying to get people to think it's Mike Pence? We'll talk about that in just a few minutes on Facebook Live.
Thank you.
So